Hare Krishna devotees, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naran Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraye Nashtaprayeshu Apatreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavate Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. Today we'll continue reading from 8th Canto, Chapter 5, entitled The Demigod's Appeal to the Lord for Protection, from text 31. Since our bodies are made of Sattva Guna, we, the demigods, are internally and externally situated in goodness. All the great saints are also situated in that way. Therefore, if even we cannot understand the personality, supreme personality of Godhead, what is to be said of those who are most insignificant in their bodily constitutions, being situated in the modes of passion and ignorance? How can they understand the Lord? Let us offer our respectful obeisances unto Him. On this earth, there are four kinds of living entities who are all created by Him. The material creation rests on his lotus feet. He is the great supreme person, full of opulence and power. May he be pleased with us. Text 33. The entire cosmic manifestation has emerged from water, and it is because of water that all living entities endure, live, and develop. This water is nothing but the semen of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Therefore, may the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who has such great potency, be pleased with us. Text 34. Soma, the moon, is the source of food grains, strength, and longevity for all the demigods. He is also the master of all vegetation and source of generation for living entities. As stated by learned scholars, the moon is the mind of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. May that Supreme Personality of Godhead, the source of all opulences, be pleased with us. Text 35. Fire, which is born for the sake of accepting oblations in ritualistic ceremonies, is the mouth of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Fire exists within the depths of the ocean to produce wealth, and fire is also present in the abdomen to digest food and produce various secretions for the maintenance of the body. May that supremely powerful personality of Godhead be pleased with us. Text 36. The sun god marks the path of liberation, which is called Archiradi Vartma. He is the chief source of understanding of the Vedas. He is the abode where the absolute truth can be worshipped. He is the gateway of liberation, and he is the source of eternal life as well as the cause of death. The sun god is the eye of the Lord. May that supreme Lord, who is supremely opulent, be pleased with us. Text 37. All living entities, moving and non moving, revive their vital force, their bodily strength, and their very lives from the air. All of us follow the air for our vital force exactly as servants follow an emperor. The vital force of air is generated from the original vital force of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. May that Supreme Lord be pleased with us. Text 38. May the supremely powerful personality of Godhead be pleased with us. The different directions are generated from his ears. The wholes of the body come from his heart, and the vital force, the senses, the mind, the air within the body, and the ether, which is the shelter of the body, come from his navel. Text 39. Mahindra, the king of heaven, was generated from the prowess of the Lord. The demigods are generated from the mercy of the Lord. Lord Shiva was generated from the anger of the Lord, and Lord Brahma from his sober intelligence. The Vedic mantras were generated from the bodily wholes of the Lord, and the great saints and Prajapatis were generated from his genitals. May that supremely powerful Lord be pleased with us. Text 40. The goddess of fortune was generated from his chest, the inhabitants of Pitraloka from his shadow, religion from his bosom, and irreligion, the opposite of religion, from his back. The heavenly planets were generated from the top of his head, and the apsaras from his sense enjoyment. May that supremely powerful personality of Godhead be pleased with us. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
We'll get started. Thank you, Mataji. I'll offer some prayers and then we'll go through this set of verses and see what Srila Prabhupada is going to give us today. ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय नारायणं नमस्कृत्यं नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत् नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवतीरुत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टकी कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकी नन्दनाय च नन्दगोपकुमाराय गोविन्दाय नमो नमः नमः पङ्कजनाभाय नमः पङ्कजमालिने नमः पङ्कजनेत्राय नमस्ते पङ्कजाङ्ग्रये ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरान्तस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिन्निति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यादेशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैता गदाधार श्रीवासादि गौरभक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्णा हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्णा हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्णा हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे Hare Krishna. So in this chapter, as we have been studying every day, we are seeing the demigods appeal to the Supreme Lord for protection. So we saw from the previous verses by our respective previous speakers that the demigods go and approach Lord Brahma for protection when they were completely helpless and completely defeated by the demoniac personalities, demons. And when the demigods went to Lord Brahma immediately says, we will go and pray to Supreme Lord. Actually, if you see, the same theme occurs even in the 10th canto. When I heard this from my spiritual master, he was explaining that Lord Brahma, being an acharya, being an ideal spiritual master, he never says that I can give you protection. A true guru will never say that they will give protection. They will direct us towards Krishna. Whenever we are in trouble, a guru will ask us to take more shelter of Krishna. And this is exactly what Brahma is doing here. He's taking all the devatas to the ocean of milk, Shvetadvip. And exactly the same thing happens in the 10th canto also, where Brahma takes all the devatas to, because when the earth is being burdened by so many demoniac kings, Brahma takes all the devatas to the ocean of milk on Shvetadvip, and nobody could see the Supreme Lord. Exactly is what mentioned here also. Nobody can see. Even Lord Brahma could not see, being such a exalted personality as Lord Brahma. Even he couldn't see the Supreme Lord. But then through prayers, he could address the Supreme Lord. And Prabhupada writes in that purport that we have to pray. We have to use our prayers so that Krishna can hear us. Because we, at our conditioned state, we don't have the eyes to see Krishna. Our eyes is not smeared with love. So we cannot see Krishna. So we have bona fide prayers that Srila Prabhupada mentions in the previous purports, that we have to recite those prayers with devotion so that Krishna will hear. Because those prayers are bona fide. So Krishna will hear. So in that line, the prayers are being continued. And in text 31, it is mentioned that since our bodies are made of sattva, we, the demigods, are internally and externally situated in goodness. Actually, we get to know how exalted the devatas are. They are always in the mode of goodness. All the great saints also are situated in that way. Therefore, if we cannot understand Krishna, what is to be said of those who are most insignificant in their bodily constitutions, being situated in the modes of passion and ignorance? It's a very instructive verse for all of us who are aspiring to practice bhakti. Prabhupada writes in the purport, atheists and demons cannot understand Krishna, although he is situated within everyone. For them, the Lord finally appears in the form of death. If somebody keeps challenging, continues to challenge the existence of God, Srila Prabhupada is writing that somebody who is continuously challenging, for them, Krishna will appear in the form of death. Hmm? Atheists think that they are independent and therefore they do not care about the supremacy of Krishna. Yet the Lord asserts his supremacy when he overcomes them as death. If we don't accept or try to understand the existence of God, Krishna will appear in the form of death. Mrityu sarvascha aham. Krishna says right in Bhagavad Gita. Prabhupada gives the example of Hiranyakashipu. He was an exalted representative of atheistic class of men. Hiranyakashipu was very powerful. Even the devatas used to tremble just by hearing about Hiranyakashipu. He always challenged the existence of God, and thus he became inimical even to his own son. Everyone was afraid of Hiranyakashipu's atheistic principles. Nonetheless, when Lord Narasimhadev appeared in order to kill him, Hiranyakashipu's atheistic principles could not save him. Right? So we can spend our whole life. There are so many examples in our world history where people have spent their whole life trying to prove the non-existence of God. I don't want to name, there are so many great personalities in our scientific community where they wanted to prove the non-existence of God throughout their life. That was their whole aim, whole time, whole research time, whatever they want to spend, they wanted to prove the existence of non-existence of God. But what is the end? We are all taken away by the power of time, Krishna's energy, and Krishna comes in the form of death, and we are finished. The super soul is situated within them, but because of predominance of the modes of passion and ignorance, they cannot understand the supremacy of the Lord. So it is something very instructing for us also. Srila Prabhupada is saying that if we have too much of passion and ignorance within us, it's very difficult to understand Krishna. In the second chapter of the Bhagavatam, it is mentioned, right? Tada rajas tamo bhava kamalobhaya chetairai anaviddam stitam satve prasidati. When the mode of goodness increases to such a level, then we can understand Krishna. And that comes by prolonged practice of bhakti. It does not happen overnight. Yes, bhakti is transcendental, and anybody who practices bhakti also immediately becomes transcendental. Yes, but do I have that realization? I do not. So we have to practice bhakti consistently every day, nityam. That's why it says nityam bhagavata sevaya. Therefore, to gain this understanding, the demigods headed by Lord Brahma offered their obeisances to the Lord. This is so instructive again. Srila Prabhupada is writing that demigods, they are humbling themselves, headed by Lord Brahma before Krishna. They are offering obeisances to Krishna. They are not saying, "Oh Krishna, we are in the mode of goodness. Please reveal yourself to us." Unless and until we humble ourselves, Krishna is going to not reveal himself to us. In text 32, on this earth, there are four kinds of living entities who are all created by him. The material creation rests on his lotus feet. He is the great supreme person, full of opulence and power. May he be pleased with us. Prabhupada writes in the purport that the entire material manifestation rests on the lotus feet of Krishna. And Prabhupada gives Mahat Padam Punya Yasho Murare. Prabhupada gives that verse from the Bhagavatam that every step is a danger, but thus those who take shelter of Krishna's lotus feet are protected. The entire cosmic manifestation is present in Krishna, so no one is independent, but Krishna is completely independent. right? We are dependent, whereas, see, Prabhupada is writing again and again means so much stress he is giving to make us again and again remind ourselves that we are never independent. Even while practicing bhakti, we are never independent. We are always dependent on Krishna's mercy. Always. Therefore, the Supreme Lord is the greatest of all. Even Lord Brahma, who created the cosmic manifestation, is but another opulence of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The material creation is activated by the Lord, and therefore the Lord is not part of the material creation. The Lord exists in his original spiritual position. Always. Krishna is Ishvara Parama Krishna Satchidananda Vigraha Anadir Adir Govinda Sarva Karana Karanam. He is the cause of all causes. Everything exists because of Krishna's potency. And in text 33, the entire cosmic manifestation has emerged from water, and it is because of this water we are all sustaining, all living entities. And the water is nothing but the semen coming out of the Supreme Lord. And Prabhupada writes, many scientists think that water is a combination of hydrogen and oxygen. Well, that is what we were also taught in school, right? But Prabhupada says, quoting Bhagavatam, the water is sometimes explained to be the perspiration of the Supreme Lord. When Lord Krishna took the form of Garbhodakashayi Vishnu and enters into every universe, the universe is empty. Nothing is there. So in order for the Lord to lie down, Bhagavatam explains that the perspiration from the Lord's body becomes Garbhodaka ocean. And that is where the Supreme Lord is lying as Garbhodakashayi Vishnu. So that's why Prabhupada writes, is also sometimes perspiration, sometimes the semen of the Supreme Lord. It is from water that all living entities emerge. And because of water, they live and grow. So without water, we cannot sustain. If there is no water, all life would cease. Water is the source of life of everyone. Therefore, by the grace of the Supreme Lord, we have so much water all over the world. Krishna explains in Bhagavad Gita, right? That rasoham apsu kaunteya. When we drink water, the taste of water also comes from Krishna. Text 34, the demigods continue, Soma, the moon, is the source of all food grain, strength, longevity for all the demigods. Therefore, the source of strength, even for the celestial beings, is the moon. He is a vital force for all vegetation. Unfortunately, modern scientists who do not fully understand the moon describe the moon as being full of deserts. Right? We all go for expedition. We means the scientific community, they go to the moon and they say there is nothing, it's just desert. But Shastra says that moon is providing juice for all vegetation. How can that be a desert? Not possible. The moonshine is a vital force for all vegetation, and therefore we cannot possibly accept that the moon is a desert. I want to also read some verses from Bhagavad Gita because all the similar themes are mentioned in the Bhagavad Gita also. In text, in chapter 15 of the Bhagavad Gita, text 12, Yoga of the Supreme, the splendor of the sun which dissipates the darkness of this whole world comes from me. And the splendor of the moon and the splendor of the fire are also from me. All these are explained in Bhagavad Gita also. Because in the next verse also, Krishna talks about fire. Because fire which is born for the sake of accepting oblations or yajna in ritualistic ceremonies is the mouth of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. There, in that, okay, before going to fire, I wanted to read a verse from Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita. Because often we consider, yes, sun and moon, Bhagavatam explains, is eye of Krishna. And sun and moon are also witnesses. Bhagavatam explains in the 6th canto, there are so many witnesses, 12 witnesses, including Paramatma, for whatever actions we do. But Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita also explains in Adilila, chapter 13, text 5, Jaya Sri Chaitanya Chandrera Bhakta Chandragana Sabara Prema Josnaya Ujvala Tribhuvana. All glories to the moons. And who are those moons? who are devotees of the principal moon, Lord Sri Chaitanya Chandra. Their bright moonshine illuminates the entire universe. And Prabhupada writes such an amazing purport in this. In this verse, we find the moon described Chandragana is plural in number, which means moon does not have only one meaning. Only the acharyas can penetrate through this. Srila Krishnaraj Kaviraj Goswami explaining, and Prabhupada is giving us more insight to that, is that the moon, this indicates that there are many moons. We see only one moon. But you see how the acharyas are saying there are many moons. How? And Prabhupada quotes Bhagavad Gita 10:21. Nakshatranam aham asi, shashi. Among the stars I am the moon. Yes, Krishna is the moon. All stars are like the moon. And what is the purport for that? Prabhupada is writing in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Krishna is described like the sun. The supreme powerful is the supreme personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna or Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And his devotees are also bright and illuminating because they reflect that supreme sun. In Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Leela 20-31, it states, Krishna Surya Samamaya Haya Andakar Yaha Krishna Taha Nahi Mayara Adhikar. Krishna is bright like the sun. As soon as the sun appears, there is no question of darkness or nascence. Similarly, the present verse that we just read also describes just by the illumination of all the moons, brightened by the reflection of Krishna's sun, or by the grace of all the devotees of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the entire world will be illuminated despite the darkness of Kali Yuga. Only the devotees of Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu can dissipate the darkness of Kali Yuga, the ignorance of the population of this age. No one else can do so. We therefore wish that all the devotees of the Krishna consciousness movement may reflect the supreme sun, which is Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and thus dissipate the darkness of the entire world. Srila Prabhupada is explaining this purport that only by the illumination that is reflected from Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, that is carried by the pure devotees of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, we have any hope in this Kali Yuga. Such a brilliant explanation by our acharyas and Srila Krishnaraj Kaviraj Goswami, giving how we should actually remember when we see the moon tomorrow, when we see the moon tonight, we should remember this verse of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and our acharyas, because our acharyas are the moons who are reflecting the light of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is non-different from Brajendranandan Krishna. And they are illuminating that light of Mahaprabhu in the form of holy name, in the form of his pastimes throughout this world, so that we become Krishna conscious. Srila Prabhupada says, I think even in Sadhu Sangha this was forwarded. When Sadhu Sangha happened, there was this forward or a letter, snapshot of a letter or a quote of Srila Prabhupada which says that I don't want many moons in my movement. If I make one moon, my mission is successful. My preaching is successful. I have pleased my Guru Maharaj. I am just paraphrasing. I don't have the exact quote. But all the devotees very confidentially concluded that Prabhupada has made many moons, not just one moon. Prabhupada has created so many moons, which means many of his disciples are carrying the torch of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu all over the world. And they are illuminating this entire planet from this dark age of Kali Yuga. So we can remember this. Whenever we see moon, we have to remember Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his loving associates who are maybe not in this planet or who are still in this planet. Because simply by remembering them, we become purified. In text 35, the demigods talk about fire. Fire exists within the depth of the ocean to produce wealth, and fire also is present in the abdomen to digest food, which is explained in the Bhagavad Gita, and produce various secretions for the maintenance of the body. Without proper digestion, whatever prasadam also we take is of no good. In text chapter 9, text 16 of the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, "It is I who am the ritual, I the sacrifice, the offer to the ancestors, the healing herb, the transcendental chant. I am the butter and the fire and the offering." And Prabhupada writes in that purport in chapter 9, text 16 of the Bhagavad Gita, the Vedic sacrifice known as Jyotishtoma is also Krishna. Mahayajna mentioned in the Smriti. The oblations offered to Pitraloka or the sacrifice performed to please the Pitraloka, considered as a kind of drug in the form of a clarified butter, is also Krishna. The mantras chanted in this connection is also Krishna. Many other commodities made from milk products in the sacrifices are also Krishna. The fire is also Krishna because fire is one of the five material elements and is therefore claimed as a separated energy of Krishna. Right? There are different kinds of energies: internal, marginal, and external. Separated energy, marginal energy of Krishna is one of those five material elements. In other words, Vedic sacrifices recommended in the Karma Kanda division of the Vedas are in total or also Krishna. Or in other words, those who are engaged in rendering bhakti onto Krishna are to be understood to have performed all the sacrifices recommended in the Vedas. So Srila Prabhupada is writing that yes, sacrifices are also Krishna. But if we perform bhakti, we perform all those yajnas mentioned in the Shastra. So we have to perform direct bhakti. In text 36, um, the sun gods mark the path of liberation. So Prabhupada writes, the sun god is considered to be the chief of the devatas. He is also considered to be the demigod who watches the northern side of the universe. And Srila Prabhupada quotes Brahma Samhita prayer, and he says that sun is actually the eye of Krishna. Why? Prabhupada writes, because without sun we cannot see. Right? Without light, nobody can see anything in this world. Unless there is sunlight, no living entity in any planet can see. Therefore, sun is considered to be the eyes of Krishna. Because Prabhupada quotes Vedic mantras that unless Krishna sees, no one can see. Which indirectly means that Krishna is the sun and he is always watching us. Always. 365 days a year. Always. Nityam. All living entities, moving and non-moving, receive their vital force, their bodily strength, and their vital very lives from the air. All of us follow the air for our vital force, exactly as servants follow an emperor. The vital force of this air is also generated from the vital force of Krishna. May that Supreme Lord be pleased with us. And like that, they talk about the directions, and also finally they also talk about all the different provinces and the mercy, how the demigods were generated from the mercy of Krishna. Lord Shiva was generated from the anger of Krishna. Lord Brahma was generated from the sober intelligence. And then the goddess of fortune, we saw, uh, we will see also again, many times is explained in Bhagavatam, comes from the chest of Krishna. That's why Krishna has a Srivatsa mark to always have Mother Lakshmi on on his chest. Even Brajendranandan Krishna has a tuft of hair called Srivatsa marking on his chest. The inhabitants of Pitraloka from his shadow, religion from his bosom, and irreligion from his back. We saw all this in the during the creation, the second and third canto. The same things are explained here. The heavenly planets were generated from the top of his head and apsaras for his sense enjoyment. May that supreme, powerful personality of Godhead Krishna be pleased with us. Now, before concluding, I actually wanted to read something for all of us so that we can remember this. I heard from my spiritual master, and I wanted to just repeat this pastime so that whenever we think of water, the Devatas are explaining how without water we cannot survive. But we also hear the other side of how water can also attract Krishna. The same water um, which we, through these prayers, understand Krishna is also the source of the existence of water. But the same water, how it can attract Krishna? Once upon a time, this is explained by, I heard this as a katha from my spiritual master and explained by Srila Vrindavan Das Thakur. Once the great devotee Murari Gupta, all of us know, he is mentioned in Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita also, he was a doctor and he was not just a normal Vaidya. Srila Prabhupada writes in one of the purports in Chaitanya Charitamrita that he was not just a normal doctor, just treating physical diseases. He also treated spiritual disease. He was such an exalted devotee. So Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu showed so much love for Murari Gupta, and Murari Gupta was sold out to Mahaprabhu. And once Murari Gupta went to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and Nityananda Prabhu was sitting right towards his right, and Gadadhar Pandit was towards his left. And Murari Gupta goes and offers his obeisances to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu first, and then he looks up to Nityananda Prabhu and offers obeisances to Nityananda Prabhu. And Mahaprabhu says, Murari, you are supposed to teach those who do not know these things about etiquette. Why are you transgressing such principles by your own behavior? You should have offered obeisances to Nityananda Prabhu first, but you are offering obeisances to me first. Murari said, Oh Lord, how will I know? You induced me to act like this today. The Lord said, All right, go home for now. I will speak to you tomorrow. You will understand everything. Feeling both joyful and apprehensive, Murari Gupta departed. He went home and took rest. In a dream, he saw Nityananda Prabhu. Murari Gupta went home and he is now sleeping. And in the dream, he sees Nityananda Prabhu, the most exalted of all pure devotees, dressed as a wrestler coming towards him. He saw a great serpent spreading its head over the head of Nityananda Prabhu, who held a plow and a club in his hands. He saw that Nityananda looked just like Haladhar, and he saw Vishwambar fanning him from behind. Vishwambar is Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He is fanning Nityananda Prabhu from behind. The Lord smiled and spoke to him in the dream. Have you now understood, Murari? You should consider me junior. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is telling to Murari Gupta in the dream. The two lords smiled as they looked at Murari Gupta in the dream. After instructing Murari, the two brothers disappeared. On awakening, Murari began to cry. He sighed deeply again and again and called out, Nityananda! Murari Gupta's most chaste wife became frightened and called out, Krishna, Krishna, Krishna. Realizing that Nityananda was the elder brother, Murari joyfully went to see the Lord. So next day morning, Murari Gupta again goes again. The lotus-eyed Mahaprabhu was sitting with the brightly smiling Nityananda at his right. Murari first offered obeisances at the lotus feet of Nityananda and then offered obeisances at the lotus feet of Vishwambar. So first, now Murari Gupta understands that I need to respect Nityananda Prabhu first, then I will offer obeisances to Mahaprabhu. So he does like that. So now Vishwambara smiled and said, Why did you do this, Murari? Murari replied, Oh Lord, I have acted according to your instruction. As a blade of dry grass is blown in the wind, all living entities act on the strength of your potencies. The Lord said, Oh Murari, you are very dear to me. Therefore, I have informed you of this confidential truth. The Lord then described his glories to Murari as the Lord's beloved associate Gadadhar offered the Lord betel nuts from his left. Therefore, the Lord said, O Murari, you are the best of my servants. Saying this, the Lord gave Murari his chewed betel nuts. Gadadhar Pandit gives betel nuts to Mahaprabhu, and Mahaprabhu chews it and gives the remnants to Murari Gupta. How fortunate he is. Therefore, the Lord said, O Murari, take my chewed betel nuts as remnants. Murari respectfully accepted those remnants in his two hands. After honoring those remnants, Murari became intoxicated with ecstasy. This is the effect of taking Mahaprasad. Do I have the realization? I don't. The Lord said, O Murari, quickly go and wash your hands. Yet Murari simply wiped his hands on his head. Murari didn't even want to wash his hands because he had got the Adhanamrit of Krishna. He didn't want to waste anything. The Lord said, your caste is ruined. You have become contaminated by touching my remnants. See, Mahaprabhu is humbling himself. As the Lord spoke, he became absorbed in the mood of the Supreme Controller. His grinding teeth, he spoke with great resolve. Then Mahaprabhu curses Prakashananda Saraswati in Kashi that he is just killing me because he is spreading Mayavad philosophy, etc. And then Mahaprabhu says, "Oh Murari, I am telling you the truth, for you are my servant. Anyone who does not accept my form, my personal form, is vanquished." And then Mahaprabhu is in this bhav of trying to teach this world that Krishna has a eternal form and his pure devotees are also eternal. He speaks several verses. And then finally, by teaching Murari, the Supreme Lord taught everyone that his form, his pastimes, and his abodes are all eternal. And then, within a short time, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu regained his external consciousness and returned to his previous humble state. The Lord embraced Murari Gupta and accepted him as his brother. He then mercifully spoke to Murari with great affection. "O Murari, you are truly my pure servant, for you have realized the glories of Lord Nityananda. If even my servant has the slightest envy for Nityananda, he is not dear to me. O Murari Gupta, go home now. You have purchased me because you have understood the glories of Lord Nityananda." In this way, Murari became such a recipient of Lord's mercy. Only Hanuman received the mercy like Murari, because Murari Gupta is Hanuman. Murari Gupta returned home in ecstasy, yet the Lord, along with Nityananda, remained within his heart. That is why he is called Murari Gupta. Murari Gupta. Mahaprabhu says that Murari is Krishna and he is remaining Gupta, secretly within the heart of Murari. That is why he is called Murari Gupta. So beautiful. When Murari returned home, and now comes the connection with water. When Murari returned home, his heart was overwhelmed with ecstasy because he had taken the remnants of Mahaprabhu directly from his mouth. He would chuckle to himself as he said one thing and did something else. In jubilation, he said, "I will eat now." Then his chaste wife brought lunch for him. Being overwhelmed with love for Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Murari Gupta threw handfuls of rice to the floor. My spiritual master says, "I caution you, we cannot imitate this." Being overwhelmed with love for Mahaprabhu, Murari Gupta threw handfuls of rice to the floor while calling out, "Eat, eat, Krishna, eat, eat." As he threw the rice mixed with ghee to the floor, he repeatedly exclaimed, "Eat, Krishna, eat." On seeing Murari's behavior, his chaste wife laughed. She repeatedly brought more rice and placed it on his plate. Murari's chaste wife knew that he was a Mahabhagavat. Wife understood that her husband was Mahabhagavat. So she cautioned him by chanting the name of Krishna. Whatever Murari offered, the Lord ate. The Lord never disregarded Murari's request, because Murari was, even though apparently he may be throwing rice on the floor, he was offering with so much devotion, Krishna could not resist. Whatever rice Murari offered, the Lord ate. Early the next morning, the Lord went to Murari Gupta's house and knocked. Murari Gupta arrived as Mahaprabhu arrived as Murari Gupta was sitting there enjoying the ecstasies of Krishna's name. Murari Gupta couldn't stop chanting Krishna's name. Upon seeing the Lord, Murari offered his obeisances. Murari then respectfully offered the Lord a place to sit, and the son of Jagannath Mishra sat down. Mahaprabhu sat down. Murari Gupta asked, "Oh Lord, what brings you here?" The Lord replied, "I came for treatment." Murari Gupta then said, "What is the cause of your indigestion? What foods did you eat yesterday?" Because Murari Gupta is a doctor, he's a physician, he's asking. The Lord said, "My dear friend, how will you know? You threw rice on the floor and you said, 'Eat, eat, eat.' You forgot, but your wife knows everything. You offered it to me, so how could I refuse to eat? What is the use of your treatments and remedies? I have indigestion now by eating your rice which is on the floor." Mahaprabhu says, "Drinking water relieves indigestion. Don't you know? You're a physician. My indigestion was caused by eating your rice. So the cure is drinking your water." After speaking in this way, the Lord, fully absorbed in the mellows of devotional service, picked up Murari's water pot and drank from it. Seeing the Lord's display of mercy, Murari fell unconscious. The entire family of Murari Gupta then cried in ecstatic love of Godhead. Hare Krishna. I just wanted to share this pastime so that we can remember when we are offering water to Krishna every day, we can pray to remember this pastime. Mahaprabhu is showing us through his devotees that when we offer anything out of devotion, Krishna accepts it. Mahaprabhu is telling, you're calling and offering me with so much love, even though you may be apparently throwing rice on the floor. We cannot imitate this. This is done at such an exalted, pure, unalloyed love for Krishna. But Mahaprabhu is showing us that if a pure representative of Krishna offers something to him, Krishna cannot resist. And Mahaprabhu is personally coming and drinking water from Murari Gupta. So we can remember such pastimes of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and appreciate the mercy that has been given to us by Srila Prabhupada and our beloved Acharyas. I'll stop here. It's 7:40. I'm sorry I went few minutes over, but I wanted to share this so that we can really feel grateful for all the mercy that has been given to us by Srila Prabhupada. ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय, जगत गुरु श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय, अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय, वांछा कल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिंधुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः.
Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.